and constantly do this self-reflection, to which not only we incite the gratitude in us in our reflection, but when we are seeking for answers in life, when we flip through, we want certain answers. So we're just curious what's the message for us. As we flip through, we realize that it's answers that we're looking for. Some contest it to be the unconscious approach, where our unconscious mind is able to, lead us. Sometimes it's the highest conscious mind, sometimes the angel, sometimes it's a message from God. So you got that rising out of tactical health. Um, Before I go into it, I would just like to elaborate this thing. Why we choose this book discussing what book to be doing. I I have a thought of Stoic, daily Stoic, and Stoic teachings, Stoic books, Stoic talk, Stoic sharings has been very rampant of recent, and a lot of people are going into
His books are also more
philosophical
expensive.
aspect to yeah. So why I like the daily laws, because it is actually broken into 12 months. And we have just transitioned into the first month
Daily
of
lah, right?
2026.
Daily lah, not
It's 12 months lah,
daily,
and then
daily.
it's daily. Yeah. So that's why it's called daily laws, and it has 12 categories, which is under the 12 months. So the first month, the January part, it's about your life's task, planting the seed for mastery. When I ponder about this, right, I was contemplating whether we should actually talk about Robert Greene, because he shared the daily law about meditations. He talks about the groundedness that we can actually have and should have as we ponder upon the message for the day. Okay, so I was thinking, if we are actually transitioning to 2020, planting the seeds for mastery, what is it that we are actually mastering? And what is it that is life that we need to plant the seed for? So with that, I do urge every one of us to book. You will only have good takeaways. You will only have great life realization. So with that, Jara loves to flip and come through the page proper. So she came
Oh,
through
I
May,
didn't
right?
say I love to
Maybe we
flip.
can
I said we want to try something new, right?
try something new through, and you got that right. So why don't you share yours and maybe read out parts of the
So it's
days
like,
and how
how
it
many times did we flip for like this whole entire 366 meditations? One. I mean, we have to do 366 times of story divers of the same book.
not necessarily what. We are only doing parts of it, and then in between we can actually change to other books as well.
Or like that free flow. So 2026 is super free flow.
No, 2026
So,
is structured sharing and structured flow. Don't share with us what is that daily term. Just read it out, please.
recognize deep narcissists before you fall for them.
Yeah, share more about that.
You can
please.
recognize deep narcissists by following behavior patterns. No defense. Nothing internal to soothe them or validate their worth. They generally react with great rage, thirsting for vengeance, full of a sense of righteousness. Basically, what they're trying to say is, or what he's trying to say is, sometimes you just have to observe people's behavior patterns. But in this theme that I flipped to is categorize deep narcissists. So I mean, all of us have egos and pride and confidence, hopefully to a healthy extent. But I feel like if it's, let's say, in this particular theme, a deep narcissist, right, there are red alerts for you to take note of before you jump in and get involved with them. Why? The takeaway for this theme, right, or rather this topic is, in the end, deep narcissists must have everything revolve around them. The best solution is to get out of their way so as not to get entangled in their never-ending dramas, and you can do so by picking up on the warning signs. In short, so life is about our relationships with ourselves, with the people around us, especially in the partner that you want to choose to live together, whether is it like someone you want to marry or someone you just have a dependency on for companionship. It also pays for you to open your eyes wide and pick properly. So, not saying that you will be able to see the full colors of a person immediately. Sometimes it takes a long while, but at least you know what to look out for, the signs from their behaviors, their patterns. And then in this case, narcissists, right, the telltale signs are prickly, oversensitive, paranoid, uh, they have enemies. Basically, everyone is like their enemy, like only they are right, only they are the most superior. They often turn the conversation back to themselves, and then they always like to gain attention. The point is to cover up their gaping inner emptiness and their fragmented sense of self. So beware if this confidence is ever truly put to the test. So what I want to say from this phrase is that 做人, right, you don't have to be all righteous and proper. Sometimes it really pays for you to be able to trigger someone else for them to reveal their true colors to you. It doesn't have to be a narcissist in this aspect. But all conflicts may not be bad at all after all. Because without conflicts, right, if you are a yes person or if you are a people pleaser, are you really like that kind? Are you putting up a front? And then how long can this facade last? Are you not tired? So that's what I wanted to share when I look at this chapter. So just open your eyes wide before you get into like any other relationships that you are looking for in a spouse. Because I also have come across some friends who are single and they're actively looking for partners. So I just wonder if they are really like urgently looking for people and just finding anyone to settle down with, or are they really looking for the right people to really be with? So just be more aware lah. Okay, your turn.
So what do you want me to share?
What do you flip until?
I flipped to chapter September on the grand strategies. Rising out of tactical hell. And this
September
tactical
what date,
hell is all about. No, it's just the introduction page. So September, the
so
grand
now flip until
strategist.
intro lah, not a chapter lah.
Is that chapter and the introduction of that chapter? Not even for September.
Okay.
So it talks about strategy is an art that requires not only a different way of thinking, but an entirely different approach to life itself. And then I won't read line for line. I'll just read out the lines that actually resonates with me. So it says here, we actually absorbed trivial information that take up mental space but get us nowhere. We also have many rich experiences that we do not analyze enough that do not inspire us with ideas. Things in life meaning nothing if you do not reflect on them in a deep way, and ideas from books are pointless if they have no application to life as you live it. So the month of September aims to transform you into a strategic warrior in daily life. So my interpretation, without reading it line for line, uh, I feel that it is I'm being I'm being confirmed, I'm being assured, I'm being how to say given points as to which the approach of self-mastery is important. When we talk about self-mastery, it's about seeing things from different perspective and be humble enough to actually receive what is it that life is actually giving its perspective, it's actually giving its point to actually help us grow to become individuals of multiple perspective with depth towards the context that we are actually facing. Challenges is in disguise of opportunities. Opportunities are in disguise of danger. Neutrality is in disguise of complacency. Complacency is in disguise of waiting for the right moment. At any point in time, as we look into whatever that we are actually focusing our energy and time on, the approach to which have towards the respond where we use these resources and why we use these resources will bring up this thing called the what if effect. And this what if effect is based on the condition and conditionality. And when I read all these types of personal development, non-fiction books, humanities books, understanding human from a different aspects, I realized that especially if you were to go in depth into the personal development space, the exponential growth that one can actually go into as they grind their way through it or as they move along through it will allow this person to actually leap forward and have the kind of breakthrough that is going to be very rewarding to that person. It may not seem to be to others to be moving forward, to be growing, but that person who is in search of self mastery would know the knowing in them would know that I have self mastery in this manner, in that context. The justification right now is that is it going to be helpful in the relationship, bringing the authentic part of this realization, this new self, into the relationship in the context that this person and the other stakeholders or the friends or the partners and all that is in together for that context. What I mean here is the compatibility of when a person grow and became another version or the version that they seek to be, they become more experienced, they have more knowledge, they have different perspective, they have grown out of what is it that has previously been challenging or had previously been non-serving and now is serving, and they actually let go and have no emotion. How would this new arena or within them serve the current relationship where the rest have not grown to that? How would this person does then? Then I just curiously flipped to September 1st. The title's very funny. That's why I say sometimes it's really very, you can use this word like magical, intriguing, coincidences and all that, and it just came out as elevate yourself above the battlefield. So strategy is more than a science, it is the application of knowledge to practical life. Development of thought capable of more situations. It is the art of acting under pressure of the most difficult conditions. So he actually quoted Helmut von Moltke, and it is actually a approach where people use to actually allow themselves to stand on their feet. Okay, without me modifying the words, without me quoting Robert Greene wrongly, let me just read out the daily law for September 1st. It says here, for daily law, September 1st, tactical people are heavy and stuck in the ground. Strategies are light on their feet and can see far and wide. Where are you on that spectrum? Which means to say, at any point in time when we talk about strategy and when we would talk about tactical, where are you coming from, to which what words you use, to how you react or respond? It shows whether you come from a angle of poverty or angle of abundance, an angle of you not knowing the context properly, thus reacting, or you know the context properly and you're wisely responding. It is differentiating, going too much in that difference between tactic and strategy. Because tactic can be of the expense of the individual or people or other resources, but strategy, on the other hand, knowing what to use in precision, desirable or utmost outcome. Okay? So when we do this, you want to know what's the intent behind what you do, and thus craft out a strategy to do so. Strategy comes with wisdom, tactical comes with greed or ego. At least that's what I interpret at this point in time.
Tactics come from greed and ego.
The poverty mindset.
Tactics,
Tactics.
tactics or tactics.
Tactical tactics.
Why do you say tactics come from greed and ego? This part.
Tactics is like movement or actions that you take, but strategy are actions which you take in a much more mindful manner. For like a better word, I like to use mindful manner.
But I thought the tactics have to follow the strategy. It's a hand in hand thing. It's not either or. No?
Well, you can then ask yourself, is there a difference between tactic and actions?
Tactics and actions. I think there's a difference.
But it's like tactic is like 小动作 to me. All right.
No, tactics is actually the action. So for example, drinking. People who are in business have to go drinking, right? The point of the drinking is probably to get people that they want to gain maybe business dealings from. And then drinking is the tactic. But the objective is the project, maybe. But then sometimes, right, they mistake the tactic into ultimately getting the other person drunk instead of the objective that they are driving for. So that's why it became a misplaced action for and they kind of got distracted from the purpose of it, and then that's why it goes nowhere.
So to me, we can also look at tactic as short term. Because if
yes.
let's say I quote back the example that you mentioned, I would see going for drinking, it's for networking. Okay, it's for resonance. It is for getting to know each person. Now, if we were to go back to culture manner, the historical culture manner, you will realize that a lot of neither in the form of presentation. Wise businessmen who in those days the earnestness, the sincerity, and the perseverance of the person. In other words, you know a lot in terms to have a opinion. But you will become very wise if you know how to apply all this in a very practical sense that serves the entire that's how to say, that is ecological, that is holistic. But if it is a short term, is that I want to actually I go and drink good relationship and then develop by the sales and all that. It's very functional in the English words. So to me, practical sometimes feels very functional. Strategy, on the other hand, high approach. Strategically, I'm in the context of when they are actually think that they are up there high, that they are very rich, where they know a lot. That's where a lot of people fall. But if you're very humble and you know how to manage yourself, you still reward yourself, you still have your happy moments, enjoyable moments, but you still know how to know where are your lines and all that. Then it may be someone that you want to work with. But on the other hand, if the evaluation people with results driven person, both includes action with different intent, both can be heading for the same results, different tendency of intention and approach. That's where I'm coming from. So the words that one use, the meaning
and have statics to flew, but comes from the intention that is good. The difference, right?
Okay, and also that's why it's context driven, and it is also in what kind of environment the person in and the people they're dealing use as a subset of the strategy, or you may actually need to use tactic together with strategy at any point in time. But if you're in an arena where you are able to actually decide a lot of things and drive a lot of things, whereby the challenges comes from the execution, the people involved, you can be a strategist having an approach of how do I create this ecological win-win environment, okay, for, if let's say in the context of career, for myself, for my career, for the people who are working with me, and for my partners, my stakeholders, etc. Strategies of a different level has its approach of a more company. A tactic, on the other hand, is more straightforward, is more funnel in and funnel niche to a certain desire and outcome that one's want. It means the foresight of the tactic and strategy could be different. Why I do say that? Because the way Robert Greene actually uh, described this sentence and shared this daily law, it actually defined tactical as people who are heavy and stuck in the ground. It clearly defined his definition of tactical people. Strategists are light on their feet and can see far and wide, which means to say, his definition of a strategist are long-term individuals. They are individuals who are with foresight and wisdom in bringing forth the action that needs to be done. Okay, right now I'm following forward. It has its so-called like vision. Okay, for a short reference, it has vision, not just mission. Okay, and it knows where it is heading. It's like for kids, right? We'll tell them, "Do you have a dream?" I will ask kids like, "Do you have a dream?" In other words, I ask them, "Do you have a vision?" Okay, when I ask them if you have a mission, I'll ask them, "Do you have a goal or destination you want to achieve?" I won't ask them, "Do you have a tactic? Do you have strategy?" A tactic could be an action, it could be an approach, it could be a response, it could be a reaction. Some may actually categorize it as a mission. I won't, okay, because to me, milestones are also in light of strategy, in light of vision, mission goes hand in hand. The minute execution and the ground level execution is in line with the mission, it's not tactical. Tactical is very short term. Keep myself safe because I feel that my competitor is bringing me harm. Maybe tactical. Yes. That's where consciously or unconsciously all this thing called an eye for an eye happens. All these things called, if you give me a punch, I'll give you a punch back. Before you give me a punch, I'll deliver the punches to you first. All this human lived experience, human lived experience. So when we read books of humanity and philosophy, you realize that it is reading in between the lines and understanding the depth to which the the thinking behind, the perspective behind a certain law in execution. Now I have a someone that I actually respect very much, and what's her name? Caroline Miss. She actually said that the Lord, the God, is the law. The Lord, the God, is the nature. So the law and God is itself is God. Okay, so God is all law in which you can't fight the nature because the nature is conditionality that will come about. It will happen regardless of what it is that you approached. If you get your goals achieved, that doesn't mean that it has other thrill of seedings that may lead to other conditions and affect other people. It is something that we cannot control. We can only control ourselves. We can only control our actions. We can only control what is it that we wish to deliver or output into the world in relation to the context. The law is the law, the nature is the nature. We are yet and just an independent person living an interdependent world. That's why seeker of spirituality, seeker of truth will understand one thing. I can only manage and control myself. I can't manage and control every other thing. Even if I have magical powers today to control certain things, I actually put in a seed, okay, for a fruition that's out of my control later on. Because no one individual is God. Okay, and that's where the overused word called karma comes into play. That's my thoughts and that's my perspective, that's my take. So when I read through his book, I remember I flicked through his book
long time ago. I didn't resonate with it. It was like uh something just doesn't sit right. But as I go through the grind of life, not that I'm comparing it. No, no, it's my own journey. Every one of us have our own journey. Bless our hearts. As I go through my own journey and my challenges, and as I read again, the depth of understanding and some of the words and some of the phrases that he shares and how he actually explain it allows me to appreciate it even more. To a certain extent, I actually admire his courage to actually speak it so eloquently and write it so eloquently in the manner that he doesn't mince the words, but every word itself carry the depth and the sum of depth towards what the message he's trying to deliver. Palation comes up in this book.
The book looks new.
Over to you,
Finish
Jenny.
the book.
You know how I flip books? You know how I flip books? It's like this. That's how I flip my book. I flip it like this, like this. I don't, or
I
flip
don't
it like,
either.
and then fold it. I don't. I do see some of my teachers in those days, they are my English teacher. They'll lick their finger and then, turn the page and then just like that. And I don't. I still like this thing where I, from the top, take one piece and then I slide it down and then I open. And I won't open it big. I just open it like one quarter and I keep it. That's why my books were only yellow, but still stay in shape, most of them, unless the glue is really very terrible. Yeah,
Finish
and
reading the book.
the bookmark that I the bookmark that I actually use are name cards, or sometimes
Why?
just another piece of or slightly thicker one is something like that that is done by my beloved. Like this. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I won't put too thick of a bookmark unless the book is like it is something that I don't mind having it. I'm not that very delicate. For example, a passed down book that is already yellowish and all that, and I would, or my personal development books that I study directly, or those books sometimes I have to put rubber band to actually hold it together. Yeah, I highlight and I study on it and I put snips of paper, and I also have a lot of sticky notes and all that. Those are the books that sometimes I need to use a bigger rubber band to bind them together, or I will buy additional book cover to cover it together. For example, I have one book that I have been reading since 2009. Uh, it's called The Life of the Buddha, and the pages are all coming out already. And I use a rubber band to actually put it together. The pages are yellow, but it is one of my go-to books for me to get myself grounded. And when I lose my way, I'll go back to that. Now, a lot of us have a lot of books. There will be, at any point in time or in your lifetime, a few books that you will visit every year. To me, that is one of the books. There are many books that I have, there are many books that I cross-reference, but that book is like my holy Bible. That book is my complete book that every time I read, I will have new insights. The others are books written by Bhikkhu Bodhi, the commentaries and all that. And the other books will be by Gary Zukav. So we can actually go through those books when we have time in the future. And if you have any books that you would like to share and have us read as well, do let us know. And Jara, if you have any books that you want to discuss about, yeah, we can discuss that as well.
I mean, we just started on this, so we have plenty more to go through though.
Yeah, and the fascinating things about reading personal development books is that you can always read it together. You
Mm.
always read it together. If you are able to remember, after you go through one round that book, you realize that personal development books always have this crossing. Sometimes they even speak the same thing. Okay, they speak about the same thing. It's just a different sets of explanation, different sets of metaphors, different presentation in different contexts, but they speak about the same thing. That's the fascinating thing about personal development book. And those personal development book that comes with a workbook or worksheets, once you do it and you really earnestly dedicate your time consistently to do it, you will realize that every sitting will bring in new insights and you can always cross-reference the front. So those are very, very good books. You know, there are more and more individuals who previously relied on audiobook podcasts and all that are now going back to the old ways of doing, which is writing books and doing the work by writing. Reason being is that the advancement of AI and technology has advanced so much that we lose touch with ourselves. So reading books of such and coming to discussion in story diverse like what we host and sharing your thoughts will allow us to actually do more and will allow us to actually um, experience more in life by sharing ideas and really immerse ourselves into this personal development space. That's for me. Perhaps you hear more from Gerard then before we end this session. It's a short session. It's a 1 hour session happening every second and fourth Friday of the month. And Story Diverse has been run by both of us, hosted by both of us for more than 2 years. In fact, almost 3.5 years if I remember correctly. But sometimes,
Three and a
I
half
may be
years
wrong.
already.
I'll let
So fast.
Jara, I let Jara, go check.
I can't trace already.
Yeah.
Too far away. But the next, I mean, I just did some flips, right? And then I flipped to May 1st. Everyone is a player in the game. So for me, right, I like reading. And I have not done repeat reading on any book, but I will keep those books that I have already um get a sense of and I like enough to want to buy it and own it and have it as a reference for whenever I need it. So I definitely have a lot of books. So when I flip to this page, everyone is a player in the game, right? I can also understand it in a way where books and knowledge and words are not meant to just be absorbed and read only. It has to be acted out or played out in order for you to be able to understand and grow in your journey. So in this daily law, the takeaway is the world is like a giant scheming court and we are all trapped inside it. There is no opting out of the game. Everyone is playing. So there's only two main choices. You either choose to play or you choose not to play. And honestly, right, at the end of the day, right, there's only one choice. You have to play. And then subsequently, right, how you want to play it, right, is the tricky and the fun part. If you are a good player, you'll find that it's fun. But if you are not a very good player, you'll probably be getting swept off your feet in the most tumbly way that will constantly catch you off guard. And that's the reason why we often have to uh, learn and grow along the way because there are many levels of game playing. And as what Lynn mentioned, right, the contexts are always different. So that I feel like my interpretation is the levels.
Numbers,
Levers. Levers.
level. L-E-V-E-L, V-E-L-S.
Levels, yeah. Yes. So this chapter is a very short excerpt. Robert Greene wrote, you can recognize supposed non-players by the way they flaunt their moral qualities, their piety, their exquisite sense of justice. I laugh because it seemed like we were brought up in this manner from the very start, or at least in our culture called our Asian sunny culture called Singapore, and a lot of other Asian cultures. So since all of us hunger for power and almost all of our actions are aimed at gaining it, the non-players are merely throwing dust in our eyes, distracting us from their power plays. If you observe them closely, you will see in fact that they are often the ones most skillful at indirect manipulation, even if some of them practice it unconsciously. And they greatly resent any publicizing of the tactics they use every day. Yeah, I was about to say, right, most times, right, these people are often doing what they're doing unconsciously, and indeed, before I even read the sentence, I was like, yeah, okay, he indeed did write it in this manner. So what this chapter is trying to say, whether you're conscious or not, you're actually already a player. Whether you make a conscious choice or not, you are actually already playing in the game. In the manner of how you want to play is in the level of your own conscious and your own awareness. And how well you play is also on your intention and how you respond accordingly as well. So there's no elaboration beyond this conclusion and this chapter. So what I want to say is I am aware and I embrace I'm a player in the game of life and in the game of business. And I aim and opt to play super well in different contexts. Of course, any context can come up. So it really is being prepared, mentally prepared, skillfully prepared, emotionally prepared. Prepare. If you don't know, just prepare. If you don't know, just go continue reading and applying it, Because honestly, if it's not applied, you will not be able to experience it, not be able to learn from feedbacks. Because if you don't apply, people cannot throw the response back to you. It's like playing a game of tennis, it's like playing badminton. It needs two to tango minimum. I mean, you can play it by yourself, but you're not living alone in your own world, right? Technically, you are here most of the time, and then you project it outwards. But still, other people will push back, right? There are no pushovers. Not all of them are pushover. I'm definitely not a pushover. So learn to play it well. When I whack this ball to you, you either miss it or you catch it, and then we continue the game. So literally, in that
Okay.
simplest way of explanation, it's like playing a game of tennis.
Okay.
How I decide to
So-
serve the ball over, right? Whether the response comes back and how it comes back, right, is also not within my control. I can direct it, but it doesn't mean I will definitely have the expected outcome in my mind. Anything can happen as well. So you have to be prepared to 接招, to be prepared for any direction the ball can go, either that or if the ball doesn't come in the way you thought, would you be able to catch it if you're not trained for it, would you be able to catch up? So
Understand.
learn to play the game well. That's my takeaway lah.
That's why when I flip right as my closing, just curious, I just flip. It came to June 6th, and the title of this is Play Your Role Well. So the daily law writing for this is that we are all actors in the theatre of life, and the better you play your role and wear a proper mask, the more power you will accrue. So the power here, let me define. The power here is the power of self-mastery. Is the power of you managing yourself in response to life in you responding to all things that are happening around you. So, again, I would just like to read this out. We play our role well, and the law here says we are all actors in the theater of life, and the better you play your role and wear the mask proper, the more power you will accrue. And the power is all about self mastery. I totally agree with this because the world that we are living in is a model of the world that we have in here and in here. The here can function only to this much, but with here, it functions much more. Here and here, much more exponentially. And the more we learn, the more we realize, the more we live our life, the more we notice that the world is abundance and there's always more for us to learn. So know how to play your role well in every context that you're in, and always seek for self-mastery. Actually, the ultimate goal of personal development is self-mastery. Whether you say it or you define it in the manner that I want to be happy, I want to achieve enlightenment, I want to find the truth, I want to understand this or that. It is all about self-mastery. Think about that. Have you not have the self-mastery, you won't be able to actually appreciate the outcome in the manner that you will actually perceive it in the manner of outcome. Okay, the appreciation of the outcome is only going to be as much as how much you will appreciate it in the perspective of your own model of the world. Every one of us have different model of the world. I've seen this many of times, and I don't only say it as I read it, as I hear it, as I learned and from different masters in the world and different teachers in the world, different trainers in the world. I'm very humbled by the so much more depth of what I actually understood in the depth in relation to the same context of different contexts that allows us to, or not lack, for a shorter version of understanding, to think and grow rich in life. So that's my finding, that's my sharing for tonight. That's my finding, that's my sharing for tonight. I thank everyone who has joined us or who is joining us or have stayed with us. And I wish you all the best. Over to you, Jara.
I have nothing to add, but interestingly, for the chapter that you shared, right, we all wear masks. It's something that I've always embraced and shared whenever people want to listen to, because a lot of people are actually acting and then projecting their aliens, yeah, like without actually knowing how to wear their mask well. So I feel like this is also a contradiction. And interestingly, according to Robert Greene, right, it's actually good that we all wear masks because they have a positive function. If we display exactly who we are and spoke our minds truthfully, we will offend almost everyone and reveal qualities that are best concealed. So, learn to play our role and will it to serve you and others as well.
For those in personal development, I mentioned earlier on that we can actually read one book with another personal development book together. Now, when we talk about mask, this is a question that I will urge you all to think about. Is it really a mask, or is it an archetype that you wear at a point in time, or you express at a point in time?
It is, right? It
That's
is an
really
archetype. In simpler words, it's called mask, right? Because archetype is not something that is easily understood or not commonly used.
Archetype is the way we express ourselves, through which it
Or is it
fits
called
to the definition
personality?
of the archetype. Where does personality comes from?
Persona.
So think about it. And with that, I wish you all the best and good night. Really no more. If not, I can continue talking. I must know where
No
to
lah, 1 hour
actually.
enough already. Slow engine start. Next month, no, not next month, sorry. Next 2 weeks.
We have a special guest who will share a little bit more about her life and what she do and what she's going to immerse into and what is it that she wants to bring value or benefit into the world. So with that, good night, good day.
Good
Have a
night.
great day and great